And we're live. Hey guys, welcome back to Whiskey Charlie, the War Game Chat, our show every month on YouTube. I'm your host, Mo from Mo's Game Table, and joining me are my one co-host and the other co-host who's still in limbo. But we got everybody's favorite Gimp with the Limp, the Gimpy Gamer, Nate Rogers. How's it going, Nate?
Another glorious day, man.
There you go. And we've got Kev that we're trying to bring in. We're going to have to remove him from there. He's going in and out, and we've got the War Game Wizard from Oz, Kev Sharp from the big board. Bunch of technical issues tonight. So, can you hear us?
We can hear him.
He's typing. It's been one issue after another with Kev's internet. I guess not.
I don't think he can hear us.
Nope, I don't think you can. Can you hear us?
Well, people.
Well, you got. There we go.
I'm going to leave because I am not getting a good connection. And
oh, there we go. So that's that for that. He's been having internet issues all day. So I guess he'll try to see if he can get that corrected. If not, we'll just do the show, you and me.
Are we going to take bets?
While he's going to try. I know he's been fighting to try to get on because we've been trying to work on it for the past 20-something minutes. But
I mean, do we really have faith in Kev here? Come on now. Let's be real.
You never know. You never know. He'll get mad and want to jump in because he wants to chat. That's for sure. He wants to do the show. But, sometimes the internet gets in the way. So, hey, how's it going, Ken? Good to see you. And we've got Jeffy Jeff in the house, Hex to Hex. I'm just going to kind of go around here and see what everybody. Yes, he's indoors today. He can't be outside.
Indoors almost every show.
Yeah, I know. But
for the past like so many months.
And Kev was looking more handsome than usual. Is that because he's not here or because he is here? And Tony's here. How's it going, Tony? Town Hall, Tony. Wrong show.
Yeah.
Rainy Tampa. Yeah, I was just there a couple months ago. Can we razz Kev with impunity? Of course you can. You can do that when he's here. Anyway, he's not here. Thumb it up, guys. Yes, definitely. Appreciate it. And big board, internet is lame. Not sure I can get this thing to settle down. But you know what? Have you restarted your browser? Not your browser, but your computer and your router, Kev? Because you should try that first. So at least he'll be in the peanut gallery there and chatting away. And if not, Kev, if you can't get your camera to work, you can always come back on at least do audio. So Ron is in the house. So what have you been up to, Nate? I know you've been working on a few things there. So while we're going around the horn, you talk about what you've been doing lately.
We got this one on the table right now. Nice. We were just talking about that the other day. So I am covering that. For those of you who don't know, that one is the next up from Princeps Games, the same people who did Freezing Inferno.
Mm-hmm.
So if you like, I can tell you this from reading over the rules and everything. If you liked Freezing Inferno, then you'll like this. How do you pronounce it? Kalkin
Goal. That's the way I pronounce it. Kalkin Goal. I could be mispronouncing it, but
my Southern's coming out. It's hard to pronounce.
Kalkin Goal.
Yeah, Kalkin Goal. Oh shit, my camera's messing up.
Oh, you froze too.
Yeah, my camera's messing up, but I'm definitely here.
Now it's
if you liked Freezing Inferno, you're gonna like this. It plays very similar. It has a lot of the same techniques and the way the gameplay works, and the fact that the stacks of units equal the strength of the unit. Right.
Yeah.
So for each counter you got an extra strength. They can go up to 5, just like they could in Freezing Inferno. Now they've done something different with the map. And unfortunately, I was going to do it half and half because it's 2 map pieces.
Yeah.
But I can't because the way they printed it on there, because it's double-sided, the left side is on the back of the right side. So if I tried to flip it over to do half and half, it's just 2 of the same. But one side I like. It has a more modern look to it. And the other side is
looks
just
like an ASL board.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
That's what I was going to say. It looks like old SPI games or something like that, you know, when it was just a brown hex or a green hex or a tan hex. Yeah, that's the color scape they went with it. And I was like, is this real? Is this really what they're doing?
I think they were trying to do the same thing they did with the last one, because there was enough, I guess they felt enough pushback on the original map that they did as being a little cartoony, and they figured, you know what, let's just do that now, this time too. We'll have the standard traditional, no fancy terrain on it map, and then we'll have the fancier terrain map. But the fancier terrain map looks good.
Yeah.
It doesn't look like, at least from the images that I've seen, unlike the last one where the map was good. I mean, don't get me wrong, that map was not terrible. It was good art and all that stuff. It seemed a little too cartoony, and it did not have the same effect as the updated map that they did. I think the second one was much better.
Well, I'll tell you, people do need to be thankful that these games get sent to some of us ahead of time, because there's a few errors in the rule book that thankfully we're able to critique and get taken care of. Because, I mean, no matter how much they look at it, if they wrote it, they're not going to see it. So having that fresh set of eyes, right? But they made the mistake in a couple sections of the rules that it's written in such a way that it anticipates that you understand the point that they're trying to get across.
Yeah.
So there's not enough information, right?
Yeah, that happens.
And I get why that happens, but you always have to have that mindset when you're writing a rule book that the person reading it doesn't know anything, and you have to give them all the information. You can't leave anything as vague. Can't even get sound on the chat.
Wow. You need to like get better on the internet. Go on your phone. It'll probably be working better on your phone.
Do you guys have bad reception out there? Is he like in BFE or something?
I don't know what's going on with him, but it must be his internet. But I mean, I'm not having any issues. Just he is. So, and then we've got everybody's saying hit the like button. Thanks a lot, Chester. Hello all from Stacking Limit. Tony having surgery on Thursday. Hope it all goes well. And talking about the Uncivil Society novel he's reading.
Oh,
nice.
And to finish up, you guys might be able to see behind me over there, I got a table set up. 148 Tactic. Criminally underrated miniatures game. I freaking love this game. It hasn't taken off as well as it should have. Mm-hmm. Awesome game. I'm getting ready to do a series on it. I freaking love it.
Nice.
It's not overly expensive. Each of the boxes, the little starter pack, you buy $40-50. I forget, somewhere around there. You get 4 minis, 3-4 pieces of terrain, all the cards, tokens, everything you need for one faction. So you need 2 boxes. But game plays so well. It's quick, easy playing, solitaire as well if you want to do it that way, the way I'm doing it. But I think it's criminally underrated. Really needs to take off more than it has, because they have some really nice stuff. So you guys stay tuned for that one as well.
Nice. You didn't get your notification. You should demand a refund.
Dude, I was going to mention that to you guys the other day, the notification thing.
Yeah.
Because I think it was y'all's channels. Like, I'd gone back on there and I found that I wasn't subscribed again. Like, occasionally I'll just get unsubscribed from people.
Getting shadow banned for what? Wargaming? Come on, man.
Well,
we might have said COVID or the pandemic at some point. That'll get you delisted.
I see why they would target Wargamer channels, because we use words like Hitler and Stalin and Nazi and stuff like that on a semi.
Yeah, but there's a word that trumps all of that. Trumps all the feelings too. It's called history.
Yeah,
it's part of history. Like it or not, blemishes, beauty, all of it together. It's all history. So.
I'm saying we don't get into politics.
Oh yeah.
But we're using the buzzwords, because remember, there were people who on Facebook a few years back,
that's a 148 that you were talking about.
148 Tactic. Hold on, I'll grab a box.
No, actually, this is the same headset I always have on. I just have it. I guess it must look a little more fancy today for some reason. There you go, 148 Tactic. 148 Tactic. Everybody's all interested in the minis game. Say minis, and everybody's like, "Oh, what? Where?"
Yeah, and make sure you let them know I sent you their way.
There you go.
All the good stuff, because it definitely helps us out, because then they send us more stuff and I get to cover more things.
Nice.
Well, I contacted the publisher of this one, and he didn't send it to me. I backed the Kickstarter, But when he found out I was going to do a series on it, he threw in a couple extra pieces, some car packs and some terrain pieces and stuff like that I could show off. So I'll be showing that in the series.
Nice. So now Kev's got a problem with his keyboard. You need to really restart your computer.
It's really user error.
Yeah, ID10T error.
Yeah. You
have seen me without that cap because I don't always wear this one. I sometimes wear my other hat. I've got a whole bunch of hats, but I tend to wear just a couple until I wear them out, and then I wear new ones.
Yeah, speaking of which, I can see why you wear a hat, dude.
Why?
Remember that picture you sent me of you and Linda, right?
Okay. Yeah,
and you look like you're sitting there and you got that goofy little smile on your face, and she's sitting there looking all seductive, and you look like a 10-year-old just happy. Hey, what's up?
Well, am I wrong?
No.
So there you go.
A couple of reasons for you to be excited.
Yeah.
Let's just say Mo hit above his pay grade, y'all.
I always do. Marines always do.
Yeah, true story there.
But the thing is, tonight, one of the things we're going to be talking about, one of the main things we're going to be talking about is magazine war games. And that's where I know Kev had a whole bunch of opinions on magazine war games, because I think a lot of people do too, because are they worth it? Hit or miss, good or bad? There's a lot of that to be said for, on both sides of the aisle for magazine games. And I know a lot of people, me included, have a soft spot for magazine war games for various reasons. And then there are other people that can't stand them, don't want to bother with them. But in the chat, we'll get everybody to kind of chime in a little bit. We'll talk about magazine war games, talk about your favorite magazines, which you can also talk about the articles in those magazines, because yes, unlike some other things, the articles are good. You do tune in for the articles for the magazine. And then of course the games, which ones do you like the most, whether it be strategy and tactics, modern warfare, or the modern war magazine, which is no longer around, paper wars, C3I. We'd include War Diary in that, but they don't have magazine war games anymore. They only did that for a little while, so they're not part of that. But if you want to talk about War Diary as far as magazine, they don't include a game with each issue. You can get a game through War Diary, but you don't get the game with the issue anymore. They did that a couple times.
You get a boxed game.
Yes.
So it's kind of
so they did it. They did that. Yeah.
Yeah, like you're getting it's not a high end. We're not talking a $100 box game, like a $40-$50 box game.
Brian knows the language. It's ID10T area, PEBCAC. Problem exists between keyboard and chair. So did you hit above your pay grade, Gimpy? Let's see what he says. I'll tell you what the truth is if he don't tell you the truth.
She's in plenty of my videos. You can see her in the guesses video she does.
There you go. Oh, no problem. I was happy to be on, and I even threw some imitations of you in there if you haven't seen yet, talking about your errata stuff, which would be funny given the fact that we have so much errata out there in all these games.
When'd you go on the War Diary?
Was it last weekend, a weekend before? I think it was a week and a half ago. I think it was. Wow. So I filled in for him because he was apparently stuck in Europe somewhere. So I went in and kind of filled in for him. And even brought up the errata issues in some games, how there should never be errata, in my best jester impersonation.
Oh, my camera's doing that thing where it's stuttering again.
Well, it's because you're using your phone.
It has to do with the Wi-Fi connection here. For some damn reason, we'll time out, and then it catches up. And as you can see, I'm here again. I don't know why the hell it does that.
It's buffering. It's probably going. You're probably trying to send it 4K, and it's trying to downgrade it. So
when it comes to errata, I'm fine with errata as long as it's small level, like a page, right? Because mistakes are going to happen. That's fine. People are human. But when you're talking about page after page after page, multiple counters, stuff like that, that just means you didn't actually check over your game before you publish the damn thing.
Yeah, I agree and disagree with that. because it depends on the scope of the game, depends on a lot of factors. So I mean, like I said before, and when we were talking with Herm and Mark, we're on, errata is part of the business. It's just part of printed material. You're going to have errata, just like novels have updates. Do you ever buy a Kindle book? You have any Kindle books?
Yeah, a few.
If you have a Kindle book, you'll notice that you'll get updates on some of your Kindle books when they go correct spelling errors or formatting or whatever. They'll tell you there's an update to your Kindle book.
That's fine. I
Well,
got
no. The difference is it's digital, so you don't notice it. Just like with 6 Days in Fallujah that we've been playing. When they put out an update, it's a patch. It's errata. It's part of life.
You can't tell me though you haven't had some of those games where
Mhm.
it's not just a page where you have to go, okay, well, these couple things I got to make note of. Okay, no problem. Where it's almost its own separate entity. So you have the rule book, and then you have the appendium to the rule book that now you have to reference both to be able to actually play the game.
Mhm.
And that's when it's too much, when you're having to actually keep the errata out, right? Not just a few small notes you got to make, but 3, 4, 5, 6 pages you got to flip through on top of having the rule book out just to make sure you're playing it right. No, that's too much. That's when they didn't proofread their shit before they sent it off. They were in too big of a rush.
So Ed says his favorite copy is Siege of Constantinople, S&T 66, and then we got Mandersand. Likes magazine games often cover conflicts and topics not likely to be covered in a full game otherwise. That's appealing. That's very true. That's one of the things I love about magazine games is you're going to get plenty of the same stuff. A lot of World War II games and some World War I games, which I kind of tend to a lot of times ignore those games because they're not as something I really want as much as I would prefer something modern or something a little more unique than that. And then they'll go into some of the older games, and you have one right here, Buffalo Wings. Are they Buffalo Wild Wings?
No, Buffalo Wings. That was a magazine game, but it was praised well enough to basically become its own thing, its own game.
And this is true. Meandering Mike says good magazine war games are good and bad magazine war games are bad. Simple, right? Yeah. One of the things about magazine games, one of the things that I like about them too, aside from the fact that they cover unique subjects, is the fact that they also allow you to work on your own development, because a lot of these games are not fully developed all the time because they are on a schedule that this game has to be out in the April issue of 2024. So you only have so many testing cycles that you can go through, and then you're really relying on volunteers at that point to put the game through its paces, to do some reading of the rules, and if they decide to do any editing of that, say, hey, this is misspelt, this is the wrong phrasing or whatever, for you to be able to get that done. You can get it done in time to get it out to print. So that's one of the things that you have to keep in mind with magazine games. They are really on a tight schedule to get those out. So you can expect a little more sloppiness to happen there, as opposed to a box game, which you can kind of move around a lot easier, I think, than you can with a magazine game. Anything that's tied into a magazine.
All right, you're a little bit more antique, so maybe you can answer this, but
antique, you mean old?
Yeah, old.
Young whippersnapper.
Did they start the magazine game thing to have something else in there to justify the fact that they were already going to have the counters in there? Because a lot of these companies like C3I, right, they'll put out updated counters, errata counters in the magazine game. It's like, a little section blocked off for this game and this game and this game. So they were already going to be putting some counters in with the magazine. And then they had to justify what was going to fill the rest of that counter sheet. So they would just do a small game to kind of go along with it. Is that
I think it was another way to get the game out, get games out, and also to build up a customer base for their subscriptions, because they went to subscription for those magazines. You can still buy them in the store, but what they really want to do is, just like anything else, they want to get you on a subscription model. So that way you signed up, and then they can just renew you every year automatically, and which most people did, because you're getting a good value for, you're getting a magazine with good articles, you're getting a game. Now, not all the games you're going to be crazy about, but
I mean, what's C3I cost now? $40 an issue?
Yeah, it's like 45, almost $50, I think.
Yeah.
45, yeah.
Yeah, so they're kind of expensive. What, they put out 4 of those a year?
No, they put out like 1, maybe 2.
No, they put out more than that.
C3I, no. About 1 or 2 a year.
Oh, I was thinking it was more than that.
No.
Still, I mean, that's high end.
You're thinking S&T. You're probably thinking S&T.
I might be thinking that. But if you think of other gaming magazines, something like White Dwarf, I mean, there for the longest, they sold their magazines cheap as hell. And that's because it was advertising for them. You could get a subscription for that for a year for like $20. You know, of course, there wasn't a game in it, but still, big magazine. You got multiple issues. I think they did 1 a month. I think they still do 1 a month.
Yeah, no, it's true. Early S&T classics: Winter War, Year of the Rat, Panzer Group Ganarian. Mm-hmm.
Did you play those?
Year of the Rat is one I've been wanting to get. I never got that one. Panzer Group Ganarian, everybody's played. Winter War, I don't think I have played that.
You don't really get excited in magazine games. There's only one that I ever actually wanted to play, and I never got around to ordering it. It was some submarine game that I think was in C3I. Like you had a diagram of your sub that was like the center. Think kind of like the Hunters or something like that. It looked similar to that.
Well, I guess I don't need to get Year of the Rat now. Kev says it was horrible. The cost of a magazine game nowadays with the magazine is anywhere from $40 to $50. But if you get them on sale, you can get them cheaper.
War Diary is cheaper.
Well, War Diary is just a magazine. You're getting the magazine, and you can get it in 2 formats. You can get it either print or digital. And War Diary is probably the best wargaming. It is the best wargaming magazine on the market as far as like covering wargaming, not covering any company specific stuff. It's really just the best wargaming magazine out there.
Yeah, you wrote some articles for that magazine. That's why you're leaning in that direction.
No, I've always felt that way, even before I wrote anything for them. But that was fun to do too. And then Manders made a great point. Not sure what that was. I must have missed it. I'm just trying to catch up on all your comments here. So are you going to restart, Kev, or are you going to not try it all? You're just going to throw in the towel and quit?
I think Kev's given up.
Nice. I think so too.
Connect the comment. Oh, can I actually?
Are you not on the comments?
I can see the comments, but it's never let me do that.
Can you not do that now?
I'm trying.
It is 1 a year for C3I. Yeah. SPI World War I. There you go. So you can. Nice.
Look at that.
C3I 18 for under $100. Well, you know what? You want to talk about crazy. Ed's talking about good luck trying to find C3I 18 for under $100. The insane thing is, what is that game? I'm trying to see if I can remember what it is. What was the one? Oh, 7 Days to the Rhine. I think it was from Modern War magazine. I didn't get them when they came out, but they're actually being sold on the Decision Games site now for $400 for 5 games, for 5 magazine games. I'm like, that's insane.
For
$400. Yeah. You get the whole smash.
Right.
You get all of them. But I was like, damn, $400 is a lot of money for 5 magazine games.
What game
Special
was
Ops?
C3I number 18? I was looking to see if I could.
I'm not sure. Great East Asia Co-Prosperity Sphere. There's Sphere. That one actually came out as a separate game on its own as well. Hey, Palmer, how's it going? What is the game that is in number 18, Ed?
C3I is nothing but advertising.
Kev's wrong. Get it. So I guess Year of the Rat's not that bad. So Jason's saying, theoretically, you could give new designers and developers magazine game slots to get them experience, but it seems like all the designs are Ty Bomba or Joe Miranda. Yeah, that is true. There's a lot of games that Ty and Joe have put out there. And one of them, oh, there you go. There's your comment. You're somebody now.
Yeah.
But it's feed the internet gerbils better. But it is true. When it comes to a lot of magazine games, Ty Bomba's really been prolific. He was talking in the comments earlier on Facebook saying he's the shogun of magazine war games in Japan. He's considered. So, and then Joe Miranda has a bunch of games as well. And one of his games I will actually mention because it kind of is the polar opposite to another game, Second Fallujah, right? The one that I think you've played that, right?
Mm-hmm. I did a video series on it.
Yeah, Second Fallujah from Paper Wars. What did you think?
I actually thought it was pretty good. I think it's better solitaire. It's pretty well designed around solitaire versus playing it heads up because there's a very good AI system to control the enemy. And the way it works is interesting in the fact that you don't really take losses. So as the allies, well, not the allies, as the Marines, you're never going to remove counters from the board. And that's to symbolize the fact that the Marines didn't take enough casualties to become combat ineffective. They did take casualties, but not that many, relatively speaking. So you'll take things like what they call it, political points, political prestige, whatever. Basically, it looks bad to the people back home when someone gets killed or a mosque got bombed or something like that. So that's where you would take your losses from the game. Yeah. But I actually found it interesting because in the same vein, the militia, the insurgents that you are fighting, take all the losses, but their troops are effectively infinite. They're just constantly putting new troops on the board, and your goal as the Marines and the small amount of army troops there is to just smash through and get the objectives. I just don't like the same thing that we see in 6 days, which is the whole mosque element. You had to have was it Iraqi special forces with you?
Yeah, IAF forces.
Yeah, it's like no, we didn't have Iraqi special. Now, I wasn't there for that part of the Battle of Fallujah, so I can't say if they had different SOPs because it was definitely different when I was there just a couple months later because I got there in January and this all was going on in November. But there were no Iraqi special forces with us. We just went out there and did our shit,
Yeah, but the thing I like about it is like what you would just say was the cadres, how they could just raise up militias real quick. They can spin them up, which is good. But you got Fedayeen, which actually have some potency. Those are not. Those are finite. Those are not infinite. And when you get in there, when you're brawling through the different areas, because it's area impulse, you feel like you can. It almost feels like you're getting bogged down at times. Yeah. So I think that's kind of neat. So you're slugging your way through it, which is the way it should be, because house clearing, you don't just clear a sector of homes like that.
Well, you notice all the objectives, like the real objectives, the diamond, triangle, whatever it was, are about halfway across the map and down. None of them up near the area where you're entering in.
Yeah. Yeah. So I mean, it depends. I think it would be fun too as a 2-player game. I don't think it's bad as a 2-player game. I think, depending on what you want to do, if you just want to smash, it's great. If you want to play delaying action and just pester and harass and attack at certain points where you make stands or you try to hit them where it hurts the most. For the insurgents, I think that would be interesting. Plus, you're just trying to peck away at them and cost them more casualties, which cost more points, which definitely hurts them. And if you can control the objectives and let them get the other stuff, it's like if you can set aside the objectives you want to take or you want to hold, you can concentrate on that and just kind of just funnel them off if you can, or slow them down, grind them a little bit, make them grind you up, delay the whole thing. And I think that's pretty cool. Now, the reason I'm bringing that up is because did you ever play Miranda's Fallujah 2004 game? It was like playing on a spreadsheet. It was, columns and rows that basically, I get what he was trying to do. He was trying to do control points as they went down, across the city. Whereas this one, you're going through areas, and that is really, really critical in giving you that feel of city fighting. Otherwise, it just feels like you're playing any simple spreadsheet, basically just running down a column. And all you got to do is just bring in a whole bunch of air and artillery and stuff, and a bunch of support units, and you can smash the hell out of anything. And it's really it wasn't very fun. And Joe's a good designer, but there's been some of his games I wasn't crazy about. Some of his games I really liked. So I think like with any designer.
I wasn't saying that this wasn't good 2-player, but I think it plays better as a solitaire game because they did a good job designing a solitaire system for it. And in a way, like I made this comparison, and I'm not trying to like insult people, but if you really think about it, it's similar to that in the fact that it's kind of like a zombie game because one side is small and potent, like your survivors, and the other side is mobs, right?
Yeah.
So mobs of zombies, and they're being controlled by the AI. And in effect, you get weaker as you go because you start really strong. You've got these stacks of units, but they will reoccupy the areas you've taken out if you
don't stay behind.
Yeah. So as you go, you're kind of like leaving little breadcrumbs of units as you're pushing down so you can maintain that control. And you've got to figure out the right maze pathway to get to those objectives. So yeah, I like the game. I think they did a really good job with it, actually.
So it's funny. I was saying that 7 Days to the Rhine, Vince is saying $400 for such a mediocre series, and be entering Mike saying the Tie Bomb series that is nowhere near as good as the original SPI series. It's crazy. People will pay so much. Well, you are getting upgraded graphics and counters, so I guess maybe that incentivizes people in that regard. But I can tell you, $400 is insanely expensive for 5 magazine games. I'm sorry, that's $80 a game. If you're going to do that, then I expect $5 games for that much money.
Well, think about if you're talking about like really high end war games. What is it? World in Flames Deluxe. What is that? 600?
Well,
retail, something like that. Or Death Ride. I didn't even realize how expensive that entire series is.
That gets real expensive.
2,500, I think.
Yeah, but that's also different. You're talking different scales publishing too, with Grognard Simulations versus Decision. Yeah, totally different scales.
I think that is more like when we talk about Grognard. In my mind, that is ultra wargaming. That's like the guy that wants the best wargaming he can get. You know, that handcrafted stuff.
I would say handcrafted. I don't know. Yeah, I don't know. I don't know if you want to say best because
I'm not saying best.
I can
say good or bad. I haven't played it yet myself.
Yeah.
I'm just saying, to me, that feels more artisanal, right? So the person who's crafting
fancy word for you tonight, artisanal.
Shut up. You know what I mean. Right? So it's not the product, the mass market product you're going to buy at Walmart, right? This is the handcrafted stuff that you're buying direct from the distributor. Now, I'm not saying it's good or bad. Can't say.
I'll talk to you about that offline, Jeff.
You know what they should reprint is the SPI War in Europe. I don't know why. I've always wanted it, and you can't find it for under like hundreds of dollars now.
You know, John brings up, talking about reprints, John brings up Battles Magazine, saying a published game called Amigos y Insurrectos. That was on the Philippine-American War. So obscure topics, we've never gotten it to the table here. You should get that to the table for sure. And speaking of Battles Magazine, A Week in Hell, Battle of Way, that is one that I like to get brought back into print. Still have my copy somewhere, but I like to see that one the rules on it needed some work because of translation issues, but I think if that was done and they went with a bigger production, I think it would be a lot better. Let's see. Next, I'm still catching up. So tired of Ty Bomba, What If games, and Mushroom Clouds. Yes, this is true. It's why I always make the joke with Ty when it comes to Ty. He's the only guy that could put nukes in a Napoleonics game or an ancient Roman game. I'm surprised he's not done that yet. That would be actually pretty funny.
I remember the first Ty Bomba game I opened. I was expecting a nuke counter, maybe 2, something like that, and like half a
You got 2 counter sheets worth.
Yeah, of just mushroom clouds.
Yes. He likes his mushroom cloud. NATO nukes and Nazis. That's the whole thing. So Kev got a big satellite dish for internet. You can track UFOs too. Just don't be like the guy in Mexico that was saying that these are alien bodies from the UFO thing. So yes, great things about Second Fallujah. Definitely need to pick that one up on Paper Wars magazine.
How much is the Paperworks magazine? Same as C3I?
I think it's like 30, 40. I think it's 40. So
roughly.
John C is going to go play Combat Commander. Cians. What do you think? You're from Pittsburgh? That's the you say it up in Pittsburgh. Yins. In Jersey, we say use guys. And here you say y'all. Right, Kev?
Didn't Proud Monster start as a...
Yes, it was a magazine game. And
it was
you
like
have that
two
one.
magazine games, and they put together and made a huge game, right?
Yes. So that was that is one, and then you have that, correct?
Proud Monster? Yeah.
Mhm.
I picked it up the week I met you, actually.
That's right. I do recall.
That convention. That was the one game I wanted to get while I was there.
Yeah.
You know, it was,
Near extortionate is actually an understatement. I think it's incredibly ridiculously overpriced, but that's just me. 7 Days to the Rhine. It's 105 pre-order. Not sure where the $400 is about. Let me see if I can find it. So you continue on while I go to look for this.
What are you looking for? Oh, 7 days.
I'm going to try to, yeah.
What were y'all? We were on the game convention. We were on
Well, you were talking about your magazine games. Oh.
I don't have too many. I've only got Second Fallujah and...
No, I thought you had more than that.
No, not really. That Buffalo one that I showed you is one I've been meaning to get to the table for a hot minute, and I just have not had a chance to yet because I have to put stuff that's, review copies ahead of it. I hope to be able to get that one out at some point soon. I don't know.
They are going to do. Okay, now I see what he's talking about. They're doing a deluxe edition for $105 for the pledge program, because if you go to the magazine games, see if I can find it. That's
is
where
that
I had
like
first
you're
saw it.
Ordering the magazine games individually? Is that where he's getting the?
Yeah, they have a. Let's see if I can find it. 7 Days to the Rhine.
But even still, 400 sounds like too much.
400 is way too much. $100 is more in line if you're going to put 5 games into adult. But this is going to be a deluxe set, so that'd be $105 for the pledge, $140 retail. So that's what he's talking about there. I'll have to see if I can find that with just 2 of us. I'm not going to spend too much time digging on that website for it. Someone else may be able to find it, but it was under the Modern War portion of the magazine subs.
Decision games can be, hit or miss.
Yes. Battle Away. Yes, that's the one. The Week in Hell. That was a really good one. Yeah, it's true. It's very yokalized.
See, that's why we needed Kev here. He's got more experience with those magazine games than I do.
And isn't Way the same as a Battle for Stalingrad? It would make sense if it was. Waiting for the Compass sale. Yes, that is always a good thing because they do have great deals on those.
Aren't they coming up on their sale? Don't they usually do it around Christmas?
Mm-hmm. They'll be going into the sale here pretty soon. Another month or so. And then Brian, who's from up in that neck of the woods, he said pretty much strictly Northwest Pennsylvania and Northeast Ohio. Just remember that my copy of Wreck of BSM Pandora is from Aries 2. Loved Aries. Aries had some interesting games too, as well.
Speaking of Compass, have you tried it yet?
I have not had the time
to drag that out. That and what else did they release just recently? The ocean one, the submarine one.
Silent War.
Yeah, Silent War 2.0. That just came in. Did you get that one?
I did not.
You didn't like Silent War?
No, I haven't gotten it yet.
Oh, speaking of which, you guys that are watching, y'all pay attention because I do believe this gives me 2 copies of Silent War. And if it does, I'm going to do a giveaway on one of them.
Ooh.
So y'all stay tuned for that. I will be announcing when I'll be.
Did I not just say that I didn't get a copy? What the hell, man.
Just giveaway for Christmas.
There you go. That is true. The Compass sale is always great, and it lasts a long time too. So you got to probably till about January for that. So, Command magazine collapsed when they put War Chest into the magazine. People complained. He complained about them complaining. The subs dropped way off. Magazine ended soon after. Yes, that usually does happen.
What's the matter with War Chest?
War chess. People
War
didn't
chess.
want it. They weren't happy with it apparently. And
Okay, and it's a game. If you don't like it, don't buy it. What am I missing here?
yeah, but apparently somebody got pissy about it. Anyway,
You complain about it to the point that now you get to buy nothing. Yeah, that was a win. That worked well for you.
yeah, people don't think of repercussions for actions. But so now, as far as magazines, and going back to the Silent War for a second, is great if you got lots of time to leave it set up on Compass Reprint Steel Wolves. That'll be another one that will be a time sink, which is very true.
I think I have Steel Wolves as well, and unless they make a big change, I don't think I'm gonna get that one again because I got that one through a trade a while back. But remember, I asked them during one of their town halls. I was like, "Okay, is Silent War vastly different from the first one, or are you doing like an update kit or something like that?" And they're like, "No, we can't do an update kit, so because it's going to be very, very different." So I'm expecting this to be very different and massively improved. Otherwise, I'm gonna, mail it back to Bill with a gift in it.
There you go. Well, this is true right here. Why not just buy NATO for much less, or buy the Third World War where you get everything? So
NATO costs 100.
Oh, I know. That's what I'm saying. You can get that for less than the 105 if you pre-order, because NATO is not 100.
NATO's like 100.
No,
somewhere around there, between 80 and 100.
I think it's more.
And
like
Third
70.
World War is something like 120 or 140.
Let me see. 140 for Third World War, and I believe NATO is like 70.
NATO is not 70. It is. It may be Kickstartered for 70, but it's not retailing for 70.
85.
Okay. Yeah, I knew it was somewhere between.
Knew it wasn't 100. I thought when it came out, it might have been 70.
NATO's worth it at 85. Yeah, that's definitely.
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. So when it comes to magazine games, everybody else throw in your favorite magazine games, and then we'll get to the bad ones later. But I got a couple other ones. Like I said, Battles Magazine had 2. The one I have not played yet, I want to try it out sometime. I got to find it first. It was one of the casualties of my move. It's somewhere in my magazine games boxes that I've got. But Night Drop, which was also from Battles Magazine, that was from the opening drops in D-Day. No, I know a lot of people like that one, and I want to check that one out and see how that one plays. And then for other good magazine games, I would say we've got First Team Vietnam, which was a solo game. That's an old one from the Yadrang Valley, from Wargamer Magazine, which was another popular one back in the day. I know you probably not even heard of it.
No.
Of course not.
I am going to ask anyone watching who might know, try to help me remember the name of, or the issue of, the C3I magazine that has that submarine game. That's all I remember, is it had a sub on the front of it. But it was one I really wanted to try, and I never got around to it. And if I can remember, I might try to track down a copy and try that one out. But it was a solitaire submarine game. That's all I remember about it. It was C3I.
NATO and Third World War are great and well-developed games, not deluxe-fied magazine games. That's a fair point right there. But still, it's nice for the people who wanted it that didn't have the option to get it or missed out on it. 105, like I said, is more in line for a deluxe version if you're going to combine 5 games into one. That's not too terrible.
But is there really that much of a difference between a magazine game and like a folio game?
Not really.
I mean, the cost,
they're probably about the same.
The components are about the same.
Yeah, component-wise, they're about the same. The only difference is for some folios, they're going to go cheaper or, less expensive. Well, for decision, they'll be like half-inch counters and things like that, which are cheaper. When it comes to Tiny Battle, they go with 1 counter sheet, maybe 2 occasionally, depending on the game. And they're going for a magazine style type of game and putting it in a folio. And that's one of the things about, again, where a magazine game suffers, where a game from, say, Tiny Battle won't suffer the same fate, because if need be, you could say, we don't want to, but we can push this release for another month or 2 to iron some things out. Whereas with a magazine game, it's like, no, this is coming out in the April issue, and the cutoff to get it to the printer is January or February or whatever. So it needs to be done. What's done at that point is done, and that's it. We're sending it off. And then anything we find afterwards, we'll put it out as errata, update the rule book and whatever. And that's where you run into problems. And that's where, a lot of people get frustrated with magazine games. And they don't think that they have that value. But they're also easy to crank out too. Like Ty is great with the what if system. You can just do what ifs all day long for anything you want. Just add nukes, add Nazis, and NATO. You're good.
That's pretty much every game he's ever made.
That's not true. We did one. Was it Inkerman? Was it not Inkerman? Crimean one in Paper Wars last year, I think it was. But he did that, and there's no nukes in that one. So I'm surprised.
I'm not trying to hate on Ty Bomb or anything, but I learned like early on a lot of his games had a similar flow to them. They're fairly simple on the rules, and there's a mushroom cloud in there.
Nice. Yes, this is true. Yeah, Night Drop is fun. Light fast, says Night Drop too. Okay, cool. Snoopy's Nose Iron Triangle. That's another one. Because I do have what's the other one I have? Winged Horse, and then there's another one. I can't remember. It'll come back to me. Which is Vietnam too. Favorite magazine game off the top of my head is Operation Jubilee as well. So good to see that. Paratrooper from S&T. I've got a couple more magazine games I still need to get to and put on the channel that I've got sitting on the shelf that I just not even looked at yet. That just on the shelf of the stock of content to do that I just haven't gotten to yet. So hopefully I'll get to those in the next month or so and get some more magazine game content out. But if you were to pick your favorite war game magazine game, even only playing 2, or one that you'd like to play, what would it be?
I was just eyeballing it real quick, and it seems like a lot of the C3I stuff, GMT's games started as like magazine games and then exploded into something else. Because I'm seeing like the Hunters, the Case Blue version of Unconditional Surrender, Beneath the Med is on there. So a lot of games that they expanded out and then made into good full box games seem to have started their life. Like Unconditional Surrender is one of my favorite all-time games.
Yeah.
That was one of the first ones I got into when I really got into to wargaming. Like
don't let Jeff hear that. He didn't like Unconditional Surrender.
I freaking love Unconditional Surrender. I absolutely love that game. Now, I probably am looking at it with some nostalgia glasses because, like I said, that's back when I first started the channel and I didn't understand war games like I do now. So
apparently still don't. Oh.
No, I would need to look at it with an experienced eye.
Yeah,
to make a good judgment call. But think about it. It's kind of like you look back at Mario from when you played it when you were a kid or when you were middle-aged whenever Mario came out for you. But
Mario? Probably in my 40s.
No, but you did. Mario wasn't out when you were in 40s. Come on now. But I'm probably looking at it with a little bit of nostalgia. But sure. I absolutely love that game. What the hell happened to them putting out Unconditional Surrender in the Pacific? They were supposed to be putting that out and just never did. I don't know what the hell ever happened to that.
I don't know. Apparently that might have just died on the vine, but Jeff is saying he was so excited to play it, and then when he did, he was crushed.
What, Unconditional Surrender?
Mm-hmm.
What was he crushed by? The nice counters, the
disappointment,
nice streamlined gameplay. The naval rules were a bit fiddly. I'll give it that. But the gameplay itself was actually quite nice.
Now, Manders is saying the same thing I did. They're on stricter periodical publication deadlines. So, excuse me, and thus may not get enough time in the oven, which is true. If you don't have the time to spend on development, going back to what we're saying about Tiny Beta Publishing, you can delay when it's Tiny Beta Publishing or any publisher for that matter, a month, 2 months, 3 months, 6 months if you needed to. Whereas when you're on magazine game, you're on that timeline and you have to get it out in time.
Yeah, but honestly, they'd be better off like having one in the wings in case the
They
game
try, but doesn't
Yeah.
always work out that way.
if you rush it and it's not ready, you're just going to hurt your customer base and hurt your own business. It's like releasing a video game before it's done, right? It just
Yeah, they
lowers
call that
your-
early release now.
I'm not talking about
And you
early
pay for
release.
development.
That I understand. Smaller publishers, whatnot, gets them some more money, keeps their doors open, good to go. But if you release the magazine game before it's done, people are just not going to buy your next magazine game because you released a crap one. If you keep making that mistake and releasing it too soon, you won't have to worry about meeting a deadline because you won't have deadlines.
So now Kev is saying it's kind of the other way around, Nate. They made box games and then broke them down into smaller scenarios. See, this is why you need to be here and get your internet fixed.
Yeah. Old man knows the
Oh, there you go. War Game Report, Stanley Battle for the Falklands. That would be good. Unconditional Surrender, gorgeous game. Just did not see any excitement in the combat system. He's got a point. I have Unconditional Surrender. I've not sat down to play the whole thing. I have played the Case Blue from C3I, and I like the Case Blue. I don't know if you played that one.
I didn't play the case. I played the full game.
Yeah, the Case Blue is just a small one. It's a smaller version that they put into C3I, and I think they actually did include it in Unconditional Surrender. But it was fun. It was fast, and I can see when I was playing Unconditional Surrender, I just played through a little bit of it. And I could see the same thing, but I was like, yeah, it is kind of, I don't know. The combat just did not feel as exciting as I'd hoped. And I think maybe that's where.
Well, part of it's streamlined because what are you at army level at that that scale?
Well, it's because you're playing a big scale,
Yeah. Now, my biggest gripe with the game is that's supposed to be the kind of what if of World War II in Europe. And what I hate is when you pigeonhole me to history. If I'm playing a what if game, I want to be able to what if it, right? I want to be able to, have whatever happen. I want to have, Spain join the Allies or something. You get what I'm saying, right? Anything's possible. And in it, I remember I made a mistake.
Sounds like you want a Thai Bomba game.
No, I don't want lasers and dinosaurs. I want just the ability for things to not happen as they did historically, have it play out a different way, and to not limit units based on, geographical borders. That was something I didn't like about it as well. I think like the few Spanish units you had couldn't leave Spain, the Romanian units couldn't leave Romania. And it's like, no, I want to be able to pull them out and move them. If I want them to attack America, that's where they're going to go, because it's my game. I know it's not a magazine game. We're all at the Unconditional Surrender now.
Well, the Case Blue was a magazine game in C3I. It was a smaller version of Unconditional. It was using Unconditional Surrender system.
Yeah, just a small section of the map.
Yeah.
To let people try it out.
So now Kev's saying Paper Wars has become a Compass game house. Lots of reprints, no fixes or updates. I'm looking at you, Triumphant Fox. Well, it is their in-house organ, just like the S&T mags and all of those are Decision. And yes, C3I is a GMT magazine. And YA is a Tiny Battle and Flying Pig magazine, so on and so forth. They're made by the same companies, even if they're separated off by name and different ownership. It's still they're all still supporting one publisher, primarily one publisher, if not only one publisher. So those are to be expected.
That old chestnut's probably right.
Name one war game that would not be better with lasers and dinosaurs.
My little girls would agree. They love dinosaurs.
This is true. Diplomacy Rules and UCS and Supreme Commander. So, but there was what was the other game that I was thinking of? Now, when it comes to magazine games, we're talking about Ty Bomba and stuff, who's very prolific in making these magazine games. Another guy that is pretty prolific, not as much as Ty, but has made some really good games is Javier Romero. I don't know if anybody in the audience has played any of his games, but he's done some games for like Counterfact and I think Modern War. S&T, I think, as well. But he's made some really solid games. Eternal War, Chechnya, Islamic State, Syria, and Libya. Those are a couple others that he's made that were good, that I really liked. Opaque War was another one that I really liked that he made. All modern stuff, which I think is real interesting to have that more modern, more contemporary games that are really current, like within the last decade. I think that's great to see those, and he's really solid designer.
What were they coming out of?
Counterfact, S&T, Modern War, different. I think I don't remember if one of them might have been an ATO. I don't think so. Hey, look who just came in.
So look at every
Stuka Joe.
Hey, Stuka, the legend. We all love Stuka. I don't know. When I think about it, I kind of would rather. Oh no! If I'm doing something small, I kind of look towards things like this. You know, a little Guadalcanal.
Where is that from?
Ziploc game. This is Dark City Games.
Really?
Very, very, very small publisher. He's
not
like
seen that one.
One guy doing it. Little hand-sized games. He has RPGs and a few war games, a bunch of different types. But they're all this style. But you know, stuff like this, or Mike Lambo with his book game like Lone Sherman, right? I don't know. I kind of lean towards that versus something like a magazine game.
Well, you're on the same type of level when it comes to those folio games, the small form factor games, or the small games. There's the only thing different is that it's not been picked up by a publisher, not going to put it into a magazine and have surrounding articles. Because that's one of the things too to keep in mind when they are coming up with the games, they're taking games and they're trying to match them up with articles for a subject for that month. So this month we're going to do something on the Chechnya or something. Next month we're going to do something on Africa. Then the month after, this is all modern, but Modern War went away. It went defunct, which I was bummed about because there were some games in Modern War magazine I really liked, and I wanted to see that continue because it's contemporary, and I'd prefer to see that than to see yet another 24 games come out on insert World War II battle here, and like we see with S&G and stuff a lot of times. I like to see something different, than just seeing World War II.
When did Modern War go away? Just recently?
Yeah, I think last year, early this year, something like that. Very true. Opaque War is a very good one.
I just think there's a higher chance of getting a game that is small. It's not like it's a good game in a small package that offers a lot of gameplay. It's more of just what can I fit on a single map and a sheet of counters or less with dice that you have to supply yourself, because they're limited on what they can put out.
True.
And it's more like that's just a small game versus something like this that's a small game that has a lot of game in it. There's a lot more thought put into it because you're putting in that smaller package.
Sure.
Other small games that you would get,
Well, we were talking about this the other day. I've talked about it with a few other people when it comes to, like, you were saying about Mike Lambo and all these guys coming out with their different book games. And the interesting thing about book games, Brian and I were talking about this the other day. He was saying he thinks there's too many book games that are come out. And I'm like, no, I don't think so. I think it's a great thing because it's a great option for people to publish because they're self-publishing, print on demand. So they can come up with this game. Don't have to worry about printing components. Don't have to price out components. Don't need to get quotes. Don't need to set lead times and get money and invest money up front and get that game turnaround and then market it and sell it. You can just come up with a game that you have, provide the components as part of the book that people can either cut out or print out from BGG or wherever you want to share the files at, do their little own arts and crafts at home and have a full game, which is essentially equivalent to a folio game without the professionally published components that they're doing themselves for $20, sometimes 30, like with Worthington with their games. They go more on the high end for 30. I think the sweet spot for those is $20.
Or 20, under Mike Lambo's games are all under $20.
Yeah, if you can go, that's what I'm saying. The sweet spot's 20. If you can go below that, you're gold. But above that, you're 25. You can kind of push it to, but above that, you better offer a lot of game for $30. And it does not mean page count, because you can have 90 pages in that game, or in that game book. But if you really only have 4 pages of rules and I don't know, 4 scenarios or 5 scenarios, 5 pages more, the other 80 pages are repetitive pages you can write over and write over again and again. Might as well just put it on Wargame Vault and sell it as a PDF for $5, or $10 or whatever. And then people can print out as many copies as they want, or just put it, laminate it, and write on it that way. It'd be a lot easier.
That's the mistake I think they're making with the older publishers, and the fact that older gamers are used to doing stuff like that, cutting it out, making it themselves, stuff like that. But guys like my age and younger, more often than not, don't want to spend the effort and the time doing that crafty stuff, and would rather spend a couple bucks more to have those components just shipped to us. Right. So if I can pay $5 to do it myself, or $10 to have it just sent to me, I'll pay the $10.
Yeah.
How
do you get the maps out of a game book? Cut them out. No, you actually get the files from BGG and then print them out. That's what most people are doing, because they're usually 8.5 by 11. And even if it's a couple pages together to make one map, you just butt them up together.
Here you go, Stuka.
And that's it. Just one simple page. Not all of them are like that. Some are a little bit bigger, but most of them are pretty much just one page. So those files are usually put up on BGG. You can download them, print them out, or on the publisher's website if they've got their own page, their own blog, their own website, whatever. You can go download them from there, print them out, and then make them however you want. You want to put them on cardstock. You want to mount your cards or your counters. You can do that. You can do it on just cardstock and just have them to push around. You can just have them on the side and use something else. So you can use miniatures if you want. So it's up to you.
This is $15. You got 15 missions in it. Scan the sheet with the counters, make your own. Just use a glue stick, put them onto some cardstock, cut it out. You're good to go.
Yeah.
That's what I did with Lone Sherman. Had a lot of fun with it. I really like Lone Sherman.
Jason saying, I treat the Worthington book games as a book of crosswords. Just write in it. Gasp. Am I really going to play it more than 20 times? Probably not.
Yes.
This is true.
If you have a head injury, all it takes is a week and it's a new game.
I know. Every time I remind him that we got to do Whiskey Charlie, he's like, wait, who are you? And then me and his wife have to explain to him, this is the show you've been doing for 4 years. It's okay.
Mo's that smelly, ugly guy,
Try to build your own games, and I actually do enjoy the arts and crafts part of that. It's not bad, because for these games it's not bad. If you're going to build like a full game, it would be nuts. But some people enjoy it, and I like for the smaller games, like I did that with the Men of War series that I've got, Men of War series, the Rhodesia one and the French Foreign Legion. Those are neat games. Joe Fernandez does those, and those are the same thing. $20 for the book, and you can download the files, print out your counters, print out your maps, good to go. And I think it's like 5 pages of rules, 6 pages. Pretty simple, straightforward, and you can get right down there and just start chucking lead at each other and play 2-player or play solitaire, depending on how you want to play. But a lot of fun.
Yeah, see, I don't mind taking the effort to do something like that.
I did freaking Stepping into Hell, GBACW Wilderness. Do you mean you printed that yourself? You made that yourself? What was the total counter count on that?
They got a Great Battles of Civil War.
Yeah, Great Battles of American Civil War.
Eh.
You never heard of that? Even I've heard of it, and I don't really play ACW games.
No, I like the Great Battles of History. I've got most of those. I still need to get the Trireme one.
There you go. Yeah, this is true. Brian spent a fortune pimping D100 Space because he has no interest in arts and crafts. See, I don't mind it, but for something like that, I like I told you, I may pimp that out myself just because I think it would be kind of neat.
Yeah, have you tried that yet?
No, I haven't had a chance to.
You need to try that. You gotta let me know if it's any good, worth getting.
Well, it's going to be like D100 Dungeon. If you like that system, I think it's going to be the same type of feel to it. So I think it would be one that would be interesting to play, like to craft a game with canvas or the leather map. Oof, damn! Talk about going over the top. So I can't remember the counter count other than it was a lot. So anybody now will go on to the bad part of things here, or the negative part. What is your not favorite war game magazine game? What ones did you think were just not good, or bad, terrible, however you want to put it, that you don't think you regret buying? Put it that way.
I can't add much to it.
I know you're not really much help tonight on this subject.
Yeah, Kev would have been the better keeper in this. Fate.
And we got Rob Moffat catching a show on the way home. See, I thought you played more magazine games, because I know you play those small games. I thought you played more magazine games.
I do. I've got small games all over my desk, dude.
I know. That's why I thought you played magazine games too.
I mean, look at this.
Brian says if you want D100 space, to let him know.
Let's see. Expedition, Tin Helm, Deckbox Dungeon. And yes, I do want D100 space, but I don't want to take it from anybody. I don't want to, take your games from you. The one card dungeon, which is actually a pretty interesting one. It's 8-bit looking.
One card dungeon?
And it actually works. They have it set up to where you've got multiple maps, even though you've only got one single card. It has to do with the way you turn the card and use it. That's what I'm saying. Like, they have a bunch of gameplay in it with not a lot of stuff. Right. So you turn it one way, you turn a different way, and then there's extra little pieces like dice and stuff that go on it that change it up.
That old Chestnut says, "You'll take our games and you'll like it." It's better than the Great Reset thing. You'll own nothing and be happy.
Yeah.
I'll own what I want and go fuck yourself.
Good series. One deck dungeon.
One deck dungeon. Nice.
Like I said, I love small games. I just never got into magazine games. I don't know why.
See, I thought you did. I thought you did. I know Kev has. And of course, Kev can't join in because he's got crappy internet. Because I thought that would be a great topic for all three of us to talk about. But unfortunately, he had issues tonight. But so the other thing, what is D100? It's the next dice above D20. The big, big, big die. Don't pay any attention to all the banging around he's got over there. D100 Dungeon. So you do have it. So you know exactly, or not exactly, but you know the family that it's running with.
So this is D100 Dungeon. The one we were talking about was D100 Space. It's a game that it's kind of like Dungeons and Dragons, except that you'll like print out your own little maps, and you have 100-side die that you'll roll, and it will create the map and different encounters. So aliens, bugs, monsters, goblins, that type of stuff. And you go along. It's designed to play solo. It's kind of like an RPG. You play by yourself, but it has all the graphs, the tables, the loot.
It's GM-less,
yeah, GM-less way to play it.
Mm-hmm.
There's so many expansions for this too.
Yes. And just man, I keep clearing my throat. Tonight I'm having a hard. This week has been, past couple of weeks actually, have been terrible for allergies, and I finally got my nose to clear up to where I wasn't sneezing and blowing my nose all day like I was, and now my throat's acting up.
You're probably like my kids, sick. All sick.
No, it's allergies. Ragweed kicks my ass every time.
Yeah. Oh, here it is. And you can use 100-sided die.
There you go. Big old D100.
Yep, I've actually got a D100 on my desk.
So, what do you got coming up on your channel here pretty soon?
Me?
Or what you're working on next, yeah.
All right, so the caulking gull that I just showed you guys earlier, that's in the process. That, again, is the next one that's getting ready to be covered. And then one little surprise I'll show to you. It just came in.
Oh, nice. Death Ride. So now that's why you were talking about Death Ride.
Yep, that's why I was talking about Death Ride. I finally decided to take the plunge. We had a gift card available, and the wife was nice enough to let me use it to get myself Death Ride. So
nice. Well, make sure you let Chris know that you're going to be covering it.
I got shit all around me, and
you need to look to that 8th Air Force. Nice.
That one just came in. That was a
second edition.
Yeah, second edition Fortress Games. This one is about the U.S. Air Force bombing, strategic bombing, Germany during World War II.
Mm-hmm.
And there were 2 different ones of these you could get. I only got one of them. There was the 8th Air Force and then the 20th Air Force. And the 20th Air Force one was sectioned in the Pacific, which you would have thought I would have gone for that one, but this one looked like it had better gameplay, so I decided to go with this instead.
Yeah, the Grognard Sims does have some expensive games. I only have one of theirs, and that's the Ewo from the Pacific Island series.
Well, have you ever ordered anything from them?
I bought that one. Yeah, I did. I ordered that one from them. Yeah.
Did you notice that they don't have a buy button?
Yeah, you got to email it in or whatever.
Yeah, that threw me off. I ended up having to contact him, and I was like, "Hey, bud, I know this is going to sound stupid, but where's the buy button on your website?"
Just let me know what you want.
Yeah. He's like, "Oh, what you interested in?" And I'd let him know what I was doing.
Yeah, it's a real small company.
Yeah, a small company. I think it's just him, isn't it?
Yeah, that's what I mean. It's a real small company, real small print runs. So
yeah,
that's why it's like that. He's actually looking at exploring having a bigger process or a better process by committing to buying something before it comes out. Like if he says he's coming out with a new game next year, Death Ride, whatever, and you're interested, you commit to it. And then when it comes time for it to come in, then you pay, kind of a P500 type system. But he's looking to try to get some, at least a better gauge as to how many people want to buy the game before he starts really putting that much effort into getting it produced.
Well, his problem is he's making the same problem others have, is he doesn't really have anyone he's working with. And I kind of mentioned this to him, and I'm definitely not talking by myself because I don't know Death Ride. But someone like Kev, right, who knows, who has some experience with Death Ride, someone who's got some experience with the games, who likes the games, he should work with that person, send them a copy of it so they can show the new stuff off and get some advertising going.
Yeah, that would be the best thing to do. The best thing for him to do, which is hard to do. It's easier for us to say it than it is to actually do it, because number one, you got to get a group of people, and they do have a pretty core group of people that will work with him in helping develop the games. But at the same time, he needs to work with somebody like Kev, like you said, or you, or whoever wants to cover, to get coverage out there of the games and be talking more about the game, show the gameplay, things like that, because it's such a niche game that has a very small, like Mike was saying, do a P50 versus a P500.
Yeah.
Maybe you can turn that P50 to a P75, think small, not, oh, wow, instead of do P50, we go right to P500 now. That's how you fail. You go from P50 to 75, maybe to 100, and then maybe you can start going up in higher increments if you build up enough. But I don't know if that will ever happen, because it's a groggy system and not everybody wants that level.
But it's kind of like what's his name? I'm thinking Fabrizio. Yeah.
Oh, that's a little different too, because Fabrizio is also doing something that's very unique, because he's got hypothetical World War III and he's going in depth in that. So if you want that level of World War III, you're going to go that way, or you go with the next thing, which would be coming up is, Red Strike from Fuka. You've got Air and Armor from Compass. You've got the Doomsday games from Compass as well. And I think, what is the one from GMT? They're doing one too. Mark Herman's doing one.
Later.
What's that?
I was saying bye to Hex.
Oh, see you, Jeff. But yeah, there's going to be one from him as well. I will see you, Jeff.
No, the people who are going to stumble across like Fabrizio's game, right? You know, the 1985 series, it's going to be a very specific type of gamer. And you're talking even more niche when you're talking Death Ride, right? Someone who has to look and really be into wargaming to stumble across those games. He's already got enough impediment to himself as it is, so he doesn't need to make the ordering process any harder than it already is, right? Just to find him. And I think just one person who does some coverage, because there's really not a lot. If you pull up Death Ride on YouTube, you're not pulling up a whole lot of videos.
Yeah.
You know, if he just picked one person who's got some experience, knows the game, likes the game, and can show it off, that'll at least double his sales. You know?
Yeah. No, that's true. Actually, that is not the one that I was thinking of. You know, I pointed at it. Decisive Action, that's Joe Chacone's game. That one does look real interesting, but it is, I'm trying to see if I could find it here. That is the one that Mark Herman was doing. It was announced in one of the magazine or one of the emails that was going out about future, not future, but hypothetical, not a future, near future is Decisive Action Joe Chacon that Kev had on his channel not too long ago talking about that. And that game really sounds interesting. But there's one that I can't remember what it is now, but Mark Herman was doing for a hypothetical World War III, which I thought would also be pretty interesting because
was he doing it while he was on live stream?
No, he wasn't. He was not playing Battlestar Galactica while he was doing that. It was just they were talking about it on one of the GMT emails that went out. But Spearhead, that's the one. Eve's got it. You're supposed to be on vacation, not up late watching shows, or up early in your case. But Eve's got his game coming out. I just mentioned Red Strike. That's coming out. If you've not gotten your order in yet, make sure you do because that will be shipping in another couple weeks, or not couple weeks, couple months. I did not misspeak and say a couple weeks. It's a couple months. But make sure you get your orders in for that because that is going to be a beast of a game. And it's going to be a lot of fun.
Oh, and
Flashpoint, go on.
Well, before I forget, I'm not changing the subject, but just to mention him, Wolfgang, the Assault System 33.
Mm-hmm.
That one will be coming to Game Found soon. I don't know exactly when, but within the next few months.
Yeah, that one should be real interesting. Mid-November is what Eves is saying. So if you've not gotten your order in yet, about 6-7 weeks out. So not long at all.
Is it just me or does Eves look ridiculously happy in this picture?
Let's see. He does.
Look at that smile.
Looks like he just hit a body and got away with it. No, Kev never recovered. He with no internet in the Texas wilderness, only in Motown. That's right. Yeah, unfortunately, VUCA did have to up the pre-order price for Red Strike, but in fairness, let's keep in mind that when that first came out, it was 2 years ago, I think it was, when it first was announced, and they had the pre-order up, which is really early to have a pre-order up. And then, of course, the whole world went to shit, and prices went through the roof, and everything's gone up. I mean, if we're going to complain about, $5-10 or whatever it is, even $20 if it went up that much. I don't remember what the price increase is for Red Strike compared to what it was initially announced at. If it's going to be an extra few bucks for that, we're paying an extra few bucks for bread and milk and eggs and everything else at the store. So the needs and then the things that you want to have, the extras, those are luxury items. You gotta expect those things are going to go up in price. So
why do you think I'm using gift cards on games, man? There's no spare funds anymore. Not for game stuff. Our Costco bill doubled.
Yeah, it's insane.
No one is as bad as Mythic Games. I told you about the crap they pulled. Charging their customers twice the extortion fee. And
is that the one that was charging? Oh yeah, you have to pay us another $100 or whatever.
Yeah. Well, they did it more than once, right? So they did it with Darkest Dungeon, and they were like, "Oh, COVID this, COVID that, our prices, and we're only passing on part of it to you." And that one, I was like, "Okay, I'll give them the one-off." And I forget what it was for me. It was something like $25 or $30 I had to pay extra, and this is after I'd already paid for the game and shipping. So I paid that. It came in. Well, they had screwed the pooch worse than people realize, because when their next game, which was Six Siege, based on the Rainbow Six Siege series,
Yes.
came up, it was the next one that came up. They sent out this email blasting everyone, letting them know that, hey, you're going to have to pay whatever fee depending on your pledge level. So the more you pledge for, the higher your fee. And they were saying it was a shipping thing, but the cost was more than the game. So I was able to, I backed that game at like $70 a couple of years ago or something like that. The amount they said I had to pay them now was about $100 to get the game. And I was like, you're out. And I was like, nope.
You can go right to the hot place, sir. Thank you.
And
give me my money back.
They told people that if people didn't pay the fee, that they weren't going to get the game. And that turned into a whole huge thing. Half the backers didn't pay the extortion fee. So they were able to produce it. But then they said that the only people who are going to get the game are going to be the people that paid the fee. And I'm like, well, hold up here. And this is what a whole bunch of people are saying, is like, you can't keep our money that we paid. We backed it. We already paid for it to pay for other people's games, right? Without sending it to us. Like it doesn't work that way. You either have to refund us or deliver it to everyone. Like if they wanted to voluntarily pay more, that's their dumb choice, but you shouldn't be charging people twice anyway.
Yeah.
It turned into a whole big mess, but the problem they're facing now is they did the classic thing that so many of these companies do, where they get behind, so they launch another Kickstarter. So they launch Kickstarter B to pay for Kickstarter A, and then they have to launch Kickstarter C because B didn't make enough to cover B and A.
Yeah.
So now the B is trying to pay for C, or C is paying for B, D is paying for C, and there's something like 5 games in the works, and they're not launching any more titles.
Well, when a company does that once, and to me, this is just me as a customer. If I see a company does that once and they say, well, I know you paid $70, but now you need to pay me $100. I'd be like, no, poor money management on your part is your problem, not mine.
Yeah.
And if then you're going to launch a second, a third, a fourth Kickstarter, I'm not backing those. And to be perfectly honest with you, anyone who does is an idiot, because you're not only are you enforcing bad behavior, reinforcing bad behavior, paying it back, but you're supporting it, I should say. But then you're putting yourself up to be a potential victim too, and then you're going to sit there and bitch, moan, cry, and complain that you got taken. Well, precedent was already set, and now you reinforced it by paying it. Poor business decisions.
They were good.
Yeah.
They already had all these games in the works.
It's exactly it, like a pyramid scheme.
Before people knew. So they had 5-6 games in the wind before people realized that the company was insolvent. So they had already dug this deep hole, because they kind of varied their games a little bit from these different IPs. So people who backed over here didn't necessarily back these games over here. So you might have backed 1 or 2, but you didn't back all 5. I had backed a couple of theirs, right?
Yeah.
And then by the time I backed a couple, that's when I find out how bad, when things blow up. But by this point, it's like, how are you guys going to accomplish this? Because you still have X amount of projects that need to be done, and you are broke. You are like, your bank account is empty, and you're supposed to be producing 4 more games. Where did that money go? Where did you spend it? And they have no answers. They screwed up to the point that people are pushing for charges for, like people are saying, fraud. The problem is it's Kickstarter, and them are pulling the whole Kickstarter is not a promise. It's not a guarantee. You're taking that chance. Blah blah.
Well,
blah.
Then the easy answer to that, and people should understand this by now. I mean, I've said this for years, and people, no, they just ignore it. But we've seen democracy in action when it comes to capitalism. If you don't like what a company's doing, what they're selling or whatever, stop buying. They'll feel the pain. And in this instance, they do that. Kickstarter does that. Say, hey, buddy, I know you're my friend. I know you're putting something on Kickstarter. I'm never going to support Kickstarter until they unscrew this mess that they're putting themselves in, because they are, again, backing bad behavior, because They get the money up front when it's charged. They get their percentage. They don't care. They're making their profit. So that's where you just have to say, we're going to hold them accountable. We're not going to give them any more support. Go to GameFound, go to someplace else, or self-publish, and I'll pay $20 extra to get it from you by doing self-publishing, or $50 extra.
Has protections built in.
Yes.
Because nobody anticipated Kickstarter becoming what it was, right? Or what it has become, which is essentially this pre-order system. And it's not built to be a pre-order system, so it's ripe for corruption. And there's plenty of people who have tried to take advantage. And unfortunately, in this case, it just so happened that they had so many projects up in the air before word got out of how bad the situation was. So they dug this really deep hole, and now people are kind of going, what are you going to do to correct this? And we're fully anticipating once they get done with this game that the next one they try to deliver, because they're telling everyone we're not dealing with anything else, we're dealing with this one, and then we'll deal with the next one. So it's going to be years before they deliver anything, and then they're going to do the same thing for each game. Well, if you want this, you're going to have to pay X amount. There were people who backed the all-in for something like $130, and they were being told if they wanted it, they had to pay an extra like $250, I think is what they were charging. I did a video on it. Go check it out. It's got the actual numbers they were charging.
$250 on top of the 130?
On top. Not
I'm sorry. I'm sorry to sound derogatory towards any backers, but too bad. Who's the mental midget that would actually pay them $250 when they've already taken $130? There's nothing that I'll pay you $250 more on top of something I paid $130 for. Yeah. No, unless it's like life-saving plasma or something like that. No, even then that's why there's other ways.
Most people were willing to take it on the chin for the extra shipping costs for the first game.
Yeah.
Because we're like, okay, COVID hit everybody. Maybe they didn't do as much due diligence as they should. We'll give them this one. Right?
Yeah.
But now they're doing this with everything.
Yeah.
And it's not $20 or $30. It's more than the Kickstarter was worth in the first
place. That's a scam at that point. That's one of two things and two things only. Either it's incredibly piss poor management or it's a scam. And I'm leaning to scam.
It's both.
Like Joe said, wire fraud, and they need to, something like that needs to be dealt with one way or the other. Either people charge it back or demand refunds, or go and get with an attorney and start a process against them and Kickstarter, maybe hold Kickstarter accountable.
Well, they started juggling too many plates, and this is when it crashed down, is because now they just, it's kind of like the American debt system, right? They hit their debt ceiling and they can't take out anymore. They can't release any more projects to try to keep money coming in. So now their house of cards is coming.
They're not the cabal of bankers that can keep printing out of thin air fiat cash.
Yeah. They can't do that.
Joe says, go to the FBI if interstate wires are involved, i.e. the internet, and it's international, it's wire fraud. Boom.
Some people are talking about a class action suit. I'm keeping track of it.
Class action suits only benefit lawyers.
Yes.
So you don't get anything out of that. That's true. I've been relatively lucky too with Kickstarter as well, but I've also dialed way back on Kickstarter. And someone was saying, not DVG. Where was it? The other one? Not that one.
What?
There was another one where it was talking about
games.
DVG and Lock and Load and Compass. The thing is with Compass though is when they do a Kickstarter, generally almost all of them except for the one Burning Banners, but all of them they're done. They're ready. It's the last. Hey, you didn't know about this game? Well, now you can back it. You can get it. You're going to get your game like in a month. So 4 to 6 weeks. It's done. It's coming to you. There's the only reason you won't get it is because the L-Man didn't deliver.
I wouldn't even say Lock and Load does that, because they don't release enough to be scammy like that. They would have to be releasing a lot more games than they are to be doing that type of crap. Honestly, they should be releasing more games than they are.
They definitely should. Should. But yeah, no, that's true. Compass Kickstarters are great, and that's especially because of a quick turnaround time.
Yeah,
know,
3-4 months down the
another-
road, the game's in your friggin' hands.
Yeah, absolutely. Can't beat that. So we're going to wrap it up here for tonight. We got to cover what we could with just two of us. We didn't get to have all three because Kev had crappy internet. He didn't pay his bill. So I guess his contract with Whiskey Charlie didn't the check didn't go through or something like that. He didn't pay off his bill. So he was on AOL internet.
He's probably just out with his boyfriend.
Oh man. So anyway, we will see you guys next month. We'll announce what topic we're going to be talking about. If you guys have any comments or suggestions on what the topic you'd like to see, go ahead and post it down below at the bottom of the video here. Appreciate the thumbs up, guys, and appreciate you guys all tuning in tonight. And we will see you on the next one. Have a good night, everyone.